Thank you for letting me know that. All it is one click. Okay, that should be it. Let me know if no sound. It's not too big a deal because you didn't miss anything as far as me talking. Let's see, 7.5 by 59, 7 3/8. Okay, John, thanks. I guess I'm muted in Steve Barry's meeting. But yeah, I think we're good to go. You know, John, I was watching you and your grandson at the Nats. He was really checking out Wesley. I think Wesley was an inspiration to him. Let's see, 7 3/8. Yeah, this, if I do this, it's going to have to be pieced together. Um, the other thing, if you have a parting line somewhere, and let's just say you're going to have a removable tail or nose, you know, you temporarily put two blocks together, carve the whole thing, and that would be two molds. You have a parting line, so you wouldn't need a continuous length. And I'm trying to figure out what would be good here. 39.5, okay. So 60, 40, 20 inches left. Yeah, I could scab on the top of that to get my 4 inches. See if I can get this camera over here. I'll sort of show you what I was shooting for with my two 6-inch boards. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure what your grandson's name is. Tyler. Yeah, the Banshee. That's a good old standby. That's a cool airplane. So, for better or for worse, this is what I had on the drawing board. Okay, this is a conventional jet type look. And this is all rough draft. It's in flux. But I got to nail it down pretty close here because I'll be carving the board. So the way the mold would be set up, you can see, let me get my tape measure out here. You can see here, this won't be in the mold, this rudder. See how it's got that crazy stinger thing? That'll be an add-on. So let's just say this is the fuselage, right? The mold line would actually come underneath that. So for the most part, this is fairly conventional for a jet. And then you could always change this because it's not in the mold. That'll be glued on 3/8 or 1/4 inch or whatever, you know, on top of the mold. So it'll be like fiberglass and balsa core or something. So anyway, this is what you're looking at for this tooling board. Here's a close-up of plans available from Steve. You know, you got the Genesis look. Let's see, get this thing adjusted here. Of course, the tail, you know, it's got that Genesis look to it. I'm going to set this tripod back up. I'll go over what I was doing with the wings. I was talking to Bob about this fiberglass composite and we both agreed it's more work than necessary. But the thing is, it's going to satisfy my curiosity. But the deal is, it's like anything else. If you want a little bit more performance and you're really close, if you want the last 4 or 5%, you got to give another 50%. And that's sort of what the deal is on these airplanes. So here's the wing I did on the short. It's got the standard 1/4 inch leading edge. This is overlapped and vacuum bagged down, and then it's sanded to that radius. I go with the center line. I'm real careful and take my time and get it perfect. And the idea behind this is more glass is going here, and then I actually core it all the way out up to the wing skin. Now this is what I did the other day. Let's make sure you can see what I got here. Now, when I go around back of this phone, or on the other side, I can't see the comments, so I'd have to hook a TV up for that. So, just to let you know if I'm not answering a comment. So this is what I decided to do. This is a spar. This is, well, I don't know, I can't remember exact. It's 3/32, I believe. And I laminated and vacuum bagged 1 ounce glass cloth on each side of it. To get this texture, it's peel ply. So in effect, it's balsa wood, but I think it probably has the strength of maybe light plywood. And that's what I used for this, making this spar. This might have to be opened up a little bit vertically, you know, with the bell crank. I'm going to have to fit that in there and see how much clearance I need. Goes like that. These two vertical pieces will actually line up with the clip. So once this is glued in, then I'm going to cut a slot this way, and that's where the landing gear clips are going to be. The landing gear clips will probably be made out of carbon tow. They'll be super, super thin, and maybe a little reinforcement where the block goes. So that way, when everything's vacuum bagged together with the clips in it, the clips will be hollow. So when I core it out, I can go right through the clips. So that's where I'm at on that. Let's see if I can find it. There's one little thing that worked out. When I was fitting these spars, you want to fit them in there to where they rub, like that. And one of these wings, like right back in here, is a little tight. And you can actually take this and slide it back and forth to get rid of the fuzz. What I was doing, this is 100 grit, and I take this and I just put it on this little scraper, and that allowed me to fit down in there, and I very gently just clean the slot and basically sand the fuzz out of it. Or if the slot's a little crooked, you can fix it by doing that. And that's what you want. You want it to go in with no distortion. You don't want it bowing out, or you don't want to squeeze it in. And that's pretty critical you get that right. You want it fitting like that. And that'll be epoxied in, probably with micro balloons. The other thing worth noting is this sits below the foam intentionally. And what I'll do is, after this is glued in place, I'll take some 5-pound balsa and I'll put little strips of balsa top and bottom, and then sand it flush. So when the wing sheeting goes on, you don't have that hard spot show up. That's plywood or whatever you use, like plywood or this kind of stuff. It doesn't have print through after the fact. So that's where I'm at there. These were cut with the leading edge radius. So basically, when I cut this on the foam cutter, I was able to cut the template to where the wires came together, almost together. So when I started cutting, I started at the leading edge, and then I went that way. So basically what was left is the little dinky tab on the front, which I cleaned off. And once you clean the tab off, then these go back in the cradle. You line up the center line, root and tip, and then you scribe another center line right down through here. So that's how I did that. I think Bob's got a better method, which I'll visit that. You know, I took off a lot of, 3 or 4 months. I wasn't posting any videos until the Nats. And I was doing a lot of projects around this house, and there weren't many hours left in the day. And I just wanted to take a sabbatical too. I mean, take a break, get some other stuff done, which we all know catches up. Let's see here. This wing down here, this is just a GeoXL at the bottom. This is conventional vacuum bag sheeting, and then cored out after the fact. No landing gear clips. And this is a Genesis 35, and this is a Genesis 35 here. And then there's one more over there that I showed you, and that's the same thing. So now, basically, it's a matter of getting that tooling board carved up. See if I can show you an example of that tooling board. Right through my drawer here. Let's see if I can find it here. I think I got the right one. This feels pretty heavy, so I think this is it. Yeah. Okay, so the tooling board I cut up at the beginning of the video with no sound, which is probably a good thing since the saw's going. It's equivalent to this tooling board. This is, I think, Winship 4060. I'll double check it, I'll let you know in a second. But basically, this is carved out, and you keep sanding it, 320, 400, 600. You bring it all the way to 1,000, and then you wax it. I mean, you can seal it, and then you wax it really well. And once you get it to that, it's not a mirror finish, but it's got a nice shine to it. And that way, you don't have to put primer on it. You can actually pull the mold off of it. Now this was the mold that was pulled off of that part. Now if you look at it, it's got PVA on it when I make this mold. So what you're looking at here is the surface of the PVA. Okay, so this is 302X Resin Services surface coat right here. Once you get to this stage, you can even take it farther because it's shiny, but it's not a mirror finish, and you can continue on with 600 or 1,000 and wet sand this and buff it and even get it shinier. So that's the beauty of this whole thing. There's no primer, there's no messing around with a lot of stuff. The other thing, once you get this plug, let's just say you make the plug and you want to make another mold, but you want to have a scoop on it or something. You can just run a bandsaw through this tooling board, glue a chunk on, carve it and shape it, use some filleting epoxy or whatever. You can alter this and then make another mold. So this is very user friendly. It's a little bit more money, but I've done both ways. It's well worth it. Let me grab a box and I'll tell you pretty much exactly what that board is. Here. Let's see what we got here. So this is a box with all the different samples and stuff. Okay. Let's see what it is. Winship. I believe this right here is Winship 450. And this one is a medium density and it's a little bit finer grain. It'll give a better finish. It's Winship 460. So if you're looking for tooling board, those are the magic numbers. If you want something even softer, it's easier to sand. It's sort of like a salmon colored board. It's Winship 440. So these three here would be my pick for modeling without actually, going with the primer and the older designs. Oh dang, I missed the comment there, but that's all right. I'll go back and check it. But yeah, I get in front of the camera, I can't see the back. Sorry about that. But anyway, these are the boards, and I think this board, the 460, is comparable to what I just cut. I think it's not red, it's something else, but you can't tell the difference. Here's the old MDF board. That's if you want to seal it and mess with that. Here's something, it's Winship 350, it's even lighter, okay? It's almost like 8 or 10 pound balsa or light basswood, Winship 350. If you want something super dense, I mean it's like hard and heavy, it's called metal forming board. So if you had like a die, a punch die or something, you needed to form metal, not steel but maybe aluminum, you had to, let's just say you had a punch die for tank ends, you're making fuel tanks for, you needed that shape, you could use this Winship 5166. That'd be a good one. This one I've never messed with, but you can get a beautiful finish on it. It's really dense. It's like a plastic. Winship 5169. There's a place in Indianapolis, and it's up in Park 100. 7200 Zionsville Road, Indianapolis, Indiana. And they make, it's called L-foam, polyisocyanate, cyanurate insulation. Okay, so the beauty of this board is, it comes in different densities, and it reminds you of, the people, the florists, they stick the flowers in that foam. That's what it reminds you of, and it's all different densities. Super light. Now, you're thinking, why not use what is EPS foam or lumberyard stuff? This stuff will take polyester resin, if you're into that. So this won't melt under polyester resin where the EPS foam will. And I can't remember if lacquer will bother it or not. Let's see what acetone does to it. Let's see here. See if this acetone eats this stuff up. Okay, so if this was expanded bead polystyrene or something else, the acetone would have melted that away. So I'm pretty sure you could use dope or lacquer on this board and you'd be all right. I don't even see any shrinkage or anything. It looks like it didn't affect it at all. And just like they always say, it's up to you to test. But so there's a real cheap alternative, and this comes in huge sheets, you know. Super easy to carve. It's like the florist foam, and that's what that is. I think they're still in business. They were like 8-9 months ago when I drove by. And of course, here's the. This is probably 30 years old. It's a sample of honeycomb with a foam core in it. This was an experiment. Basically, instead of pouring a mold and making a brick, it was taking the bell crank pattern. And as you can see, when I made this, it wasn't flat. The plate was flat, but then basically what you have to be careful of when you make a mold, don't ask me why, but the way the fabric is and everything, when it finally cures, and this has been in the oven to post-cure. Let's see how I got some warpage on it. See where I sanded it. And maybe it's not a big deal. You could put this on a plate and clean it up and flatten it. It wouldn't affect the part any because it's plenty thick. So there's a lot of ways of making molds. You can actually cast a mold, or you can actually lay it up. This bushing for the mold was molded in there, and it was set up perfectly straight, so then when I put the carbon around it, you know, it's keyed in to where it needs to be. Another thing, this is sort of a thing I've gone over many times, DTO 81 HDR 250 with a 386 curing agent. When you mix enough of this DTO 81 or this filler material, it's like a phenolic sand, which they don't make it anymore, but there's a replacement, I believe, from Freeman. When you mix enough of it together, it becomes a dough, especially when this thing starts to go into a B stage. And just to prove the point, I just took a ball of this dough and just squeezed it like this, which is, it almost make a perfect handle. If you wanted to take some structure and mold a handle, you could use this stuff. So there's a quick overview of what I got going. I'm gonna turn the camera off here, and I'm gonna work on that tooling board. I'll probably take a jigsaw or something, and I'll transfer this profile of the fuselage to this board here. Let's see, I'm going to read this. I use a Genesis 35R. Okay. Yeah, the time machine. Yeah. Some neat stuff out there. But when I glue these two pieces together, that's going to be the center line. Okay, so when I start carving the fuselage out of this, these blanks, that's my reference point from tip to tail, or nose to tail, this center line right here, which is the seam. I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to put the parting line. Normally on an airplane, the parting line goes vertical. It's on the top and bottom. What I'm going to do on this fuselage, it's not going to have flat sides. It's going to be oval for a couple reasons. One of them mainly is strength. The other being it's easy to get a parting line in the horizontal plane. So what I'm thinking is the fuselage will have a top and bottom. So when I glue the wing in, I'm gluing it into the bottom half of the fuselage and the stab. Everything's lined up, I glue it in. Then I add the top half. So basically the parting line in the mold will run down the side of the airplane from nose to tail. Now, it might not be a straight line depending on where the high point of the mold is, but basically that's what I'm going to do. Put the high point on the side is the parting line. But you know, I'll tune back in, or this is a live stream obviously, but when it gets down to something like that where I'm working on that mold, I'll probably go ahead and edit the video and it'll go through pretty quick. So yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for the thumbs up, and make a lot of dust and life is good. And I'll talk to you guys later.